This episode of WDW Today is being sponsored by All Star Vacation Homes. And if you're planning a trip to Walt Disney World and you're thinking to yourself, I love going to Walt Disney World, but I really don't like sharing a little small room with lots of other people. I love my kids, but, we need our space, right? Or, your brother-in-law or whoever it is, regardless of who you're traveling with, you need some space. Everyone needs it. Well, All Star Vacation Homes is the perfect solution for you. They're going to offer you great places to stay with lots of space, many, many bedrooms, and lots of other great amenities. And the best part about it is that it's not going to be a lot of money. In fact, they've got some great rates you need to check out right now. Go to allstarvacationhomes.com.
Bringing the world to your world, this is Walt Disney World Today. Here are Mike Scopa, Len Testa, Mike Newell, and your host, Matt Hochberg.
It's Friday, April 8th, 2011, and this is episode 861 of WDW Today. I'm Matt Hochberg of StudioCentral.com. Joining on today's show is Mike Scopa, a senior feature writer and blogger for allears.net. Welcome, Mike.
Attention. A4 announces final clearance check for probe Charlie 218. Passenger loading now underway.
Mission to Mars?
No.
My other guess is Body Wars.
Body Wars it is.
Nice.
Good job.
Should have gone with my gut instinct on that one. No pun intended. Also joining us on today's show is Mike Newell of Mouse World Radio. Mike,
Yes.
What's the newest track on Mouse World Radio these days?
The newest one is debuting today. It's
Set myself up for that one.
Yeah.
Yes, you did.
Actually, I'm more scared you had that ready to go, Mike.
Every Friday.
And
Fun,
always dancing
fun.
to the latest YouTube sensation, no matter how bad it is. It's Fred Hazelton, master statistician for touringplans.com. Welcome to the show, Fred.
Yeah, thanks. That's how I roll, Matt. You know me.
Always deciding between the front seat or the back seat.
That's right. So just one question. Am I Len tonight or am I Annette? Because that's going to sort of change how I answer questions.
You go for Annette tonight. You can
Okay,
channel
I'll
a
get
little Annette.
Get your
Okay,
grits out.
So on today's show, we're going to be actually looking forward to the opening of Star Tours 2, which opens May 20th, 2011 here in Walt Disney World and June 3rd in Disneyland. And we were thinking to ourselves, we have some details that are out there, but not everything. We don't know everything about the attraction that's to come. So we were kind of thinking, what would we as fans of Disney World and Star Wars like to see in the attraction? What don't we want to see in the attraction? What are some things, what are some things we want to, what are the highlights that we'd like to see included? Maybe something that we've been thinking about, because Star Tours has been around for so many years. I'm sure, everyone's done the daydreaming, and now that it's a reality and Star Tours 2 is coming our way, let's talk about where we, what we'd like to see in this. And Mr. Scope, I'd like to start with you. As someone who's ruminated on this idea for many years, I'm sure, what would you like to see in Star Tours 2?
I think, Matt, the first thing I'd like to see is a different pre-show area. We've all seen for almost 20 years now the same pre-show area. I was hoping that when I walk into the version 2 of Star Tours that there will be a different type of assortment of sceneries to see and to experience as I move my way up to the main ride. So I'm looking forward to seeing if they do anything with the pre-show area. Now, there are some huge props in there that, they may need to keep in there, but I'm hoping that there will be some different experiences for the guests as they walk into the show. So that's the first thing I'll be looking for.
And of course, we want to keep track of what has been announced for Star Tours 2. I'll make a shameless plug for something that Fred and I are working on. It's a website called StarTours2live.com. And there you'll see a whole slew of information of what's currently included. And I agree with you, Mike. I would love to see, we haven't seen a whole lot of work outside the ride. Right now, they have some walls up, but they haven't really done, the Ewok Village is still there. So I'm hoping they're doing a lot more work inside, which is basically what I think is going to happen. But I would agree with you, Mike. I would love to see just an entirely different experience inside the building. Once you enter that building, I don't want to be reminded necessarily of Star Tours 1. I want to have a completely different experience. We've been waiting 20 years for something new. So let's really, get a totally different experience altogether. What about you, Fred? What's something that you'd like to see in Star Tours 2?
Well, yeah, I agree about the pre-show stuff because, I mean, the ride itself is going to be, I think, basically the same. I mean, the story is going to be different. There's going to be some different things in there, but they're not redoing the whole ride. It's more sort of the story that you go through. So hopefully the pre-show stuff will be a little bit different. I'd like to see more inclusions of the characters from the Star Wars movies, because that's one thing that I was surprised when I first experienced the original Star Tours, is that, I mean, you see C-3PO and R2-D2 in the pre-show and that kind of thing, but they kind of go outside the story of the movies with this idea of, you know, you're touring these different places, and you don't really have much interaction with the characters from the films. I'm hoping that they're going to do that a little bit more.
Yeah, I really miss Porkins, right, Noel?
Oh, he's the best. Porkins, no.
That's an inside joke. But
Yes.
some people are getting that. But I agree with you, Fred. I would love to see, be it Chewbacca or Yoda or Darth Vader. I mean, they already kind of really heavily hinted that Vader is going to be in this, but I would love to see, lots more characters. So I agree with that. You know, the ride is going to be completely. It's going to be random. It's kind of be like Tower of Terror, where you have different scenarios based on the ride, and Disney has been advertising over 54 possible destinations that you'll be able to go to. So it's not going to be the same, like Star Tours 1 was the same exact ride every single time you rode. And this will give you some good options to change things up, which is great. I'm really looking forward to that. And I just hope that I guess this is a little of what I do want and what I don't want. I do want them to obviously include lots of stuff that we haven't seen before, especially in Star Tours 1. But I don't want them to be too heavy on the prequels. I think most people can agree that the prequels are flawed in many respects. They're not awful. They're just, flawed in many respects. And, I would just prefer that they stick more to the stuff in the, that we see in the first trilogy, although it's kind of difficult because the ride is supposed to take place between the events of episode 3 and episode 4. Episode 3 is the, Revenge of the Sith, which was the last prequel. And episode 4 is New Hope, which is the, first 1970, what was it, 79?
77.
What am I know? I'm not some geek. 77.
You're not some geek.
You weren't even born that.
I know, right? Exactly. Before my time. So, they'll have they have to obviously stick with the whole storyline and everything, but I would love to see, a good balance. I don't want this to be Star Tours, the prequels, and I don't want this to necessarily be only the old stuff. But I think there needs to be a balance for sure. What about you, Noel? What do you want to see as a Star Wars fan?
I want to see Jar Jar Binks.
Oh, man.
No? Nothing?
Misa think that's a bad idea.
Yeah. No, yeah, that would be a really bad idea. I'm with you. You know what I really love to see, though? Something, if they can do something in the pre-show like they did over at Toy Story Mania, where they had like an interactive, figure in there, like even Darth Vader, where he's standing there and he can interact with the guests. That would be awesome.
Like Crush, yeah.
Something like that, yeah. I mean, it's just...
Or like Darth Maul or something that's kind of hiding, and then maybe he comes out now and then. And
yeah, something
kind of freaks out
interactive.
people.
Not just a screen, but like, something you can actually talk to would be kind of neat. I agree. I'm totally with you, Matt. I think that they should... Me personally, I think they should, rely heavily more on the originals, or the original 3 from the 70s and 80s more than so now, because I was a huge fan of the first 3. By that I mean 4, 5, and 6, not the first. But right. And I mean they're okay for what they are. I'm not the biggest fan of them, but I mean 77. Oh man, start with 4, 5, and 6. Heavily relied. Maybe some Yoda in there. I hope they don't do too much of the Ewoks. I really don't.
Yeah. I hope one thing they do keep in mind is a lot of the humor that was in Star Tours 1. You had like in the pre-show, first walked in the building, something was overloading and C-3PO was yelling at R2 to shut it down before you blow this all up,
right.
And
that stuff was really cool.
And C-3PO saying, you'll never catch me in one of those things. And in the my favorite part was the old pre-show with Chewie. They're showing you how to board. And one of the other aliens takes a picture of him, and he freaks out and starts shaking his hands and doing the Chewbacca.
No.
So I would love to see Disney maintain a little campiness to it, not over the top. Like this isn't a Three Stooges bit, and but it's got to be it should have some humor to it because certain characters definitely lend themselves towards it. So I would love to see a little bit of humor in the attraction.
Yeah, and I
maybe
think
something in the pre-show with a stormtrooper bumping his head as he walks into a room or something.
Stormtroopers are great for that.
Yeah.
It's funny how the the symbols of everything wrong with the Empire have become just these awesome ways of making fun of everything. If you just Google stormtroopers, pictures, there's so many funny things that people have done with that. So it's so fun. It's so interesting that they're like supposed to be like supposed to represent the forces of evil, and they've just become this lighthearted joke amongst geeks these days. So it's kind of funny. But I would agree with you, Fred.
Anybody else think that this might be a good chance to change the theming of the uniforms? I don't know about you guys, but for the cast members, I mean.
Yeah.
Like I don't think they particularly reflect a Star Wars image when I see them.
I agree. Looks more like Star Trek.
Well, I think I think they were trying to go for the airline appeal, kind of make Star Tours an airline, and I think that's what they were going for.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. The new costumes there's artwork that's been put out, and it looks like you're right, Mike. It looks like it reminds me a little bit of Soren.
Exactly.
Which of course are supposed to look like flight attendants.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. I mean, they try to make it like you were really traveling somewhere, as opposed to being part of an adventure. You were just traveling to Endor or something like that. So that's really what they base it on. I mean, the old pre-show had a kind of feel of an airport, especially towards the end as you boarded the vehicle. That whole boarding area was kind of like an airport, and they treated it such. Gate 1, Gate 2, and the video screens that were showing you, the safety spiels. That was kind of almost, airport themed, and I mean, it was all right, but you didn't feel like you were part of the action. You just felt like you were going on a trip.
Right. Yeah. Well, there's a funny story about the costumes. When Star Tours first opened in 1990 at Disney's MGM Studios, they had this costume that was a completely orange jumpsuit. They're supposed to look like X-wing pilots, right? And one of the cast members was going to work in their costume, driving their car, and they got pulled over by the police because they thought they were an escaped convict. Because it's the exact same color that convicts wear, orange jumpsuits. They said, no,
that's great.
No, I work at Disney. Oh, okay. So they changed it up a little bit, and then they turned into this. Now, the old costume used to be this orange shirt, but at least blue pants, and didn't look quite like a chain gang costume.
That's awesome.
That's first thing you want to do when you break out of prison is go to Disney World. Yahoo!
Yeah, really?
What else is on your list, Scopa?
Well, one of the things I don't want to experience, Matt, is when I'm actually in the attraction and sitting down and in one of those hydraulic boxes, and
simulators.
When the screen comes on, I want it to be. I don't want it to be predictable, and by that I mean I don't want the screen to indicate to me what's going to happen. I want to see some surprises for my first experience. When we go on the old one, I mean, you can tell you're going to be entering the Death Star, and you're going to be doing this, and you're going to be doing that. I would like to see 3 or 4 surprises, so that maybe we get a false sense of what's going to happen, and something else takes place. So I'm hoping that the Imagineers were able to do something that would give us a little surprise, maybe a shock, something unexpected during the course of the actual attraction.
I agree with that. I think it's a lot of what the problem with Star Tours 1 and a lot of Disney attractions of that time, especially, was that it's the rewritability. Back even back to 89, late 80s, early 90s, rewritability wasn't so much an issue. I mean, they were still making rides like they did in 1955, the same ride experience over and over again. But since then, they've really learned that people love the ability to have something different in the ride all the time, which is what makes attractions like Toy Story Midway Mania and the recent the change to Tower of Terror, where it's got random ride sequences, Turtle Talk with Crush. People like having different stuff to it. So it would be great to if they can do like you just said, Mike, and keep us guessing.
Yeah. I think that that's something that that is lacking in a lot of attractions. The surprise factor, and I think that it's something that probably has come up before, because as we've been told, the ride profile has many different. I should say there are many different profiles to this attraction now, and it started long time ago with Horizons.
Galaxy far away.
You beat me to it. Oh my goodness!
And so I think that maybe, I mean, even with the drop sequence for the Tower of Terror, again, it's a random thing.
Yep.
I think that you'll see more and more of that. I think that as theme parks and Imagineers begin to design more and more attractions, I think that they realize that two things need to take place. One, Mike mentioned earlier, that interaction is good for the guests, especially in the queue lines. That's very, very good. That's number one. Number two, expecting the unexpected. You don't want to. I mean, I know that a lot of us go to certain parks and certain attractions because we want to experience something that we enjoy. But, then there's the other half that says, I really would like to see something different this time around. I want to be surprised. I want to be entertained. And I think that's something that I'm really hoping that happens with the V2 of ST.
Hey, Matt,
I just want to take it one step further than what you mentioned and what Mike mentioned, which is I want to see a rich queue line experience, something that like what they did, the wonderful job they did with Expedition Everest. Even Toy Story Midway Mania, I think, has a pretty good queue. I want to really have one of those queues that you want to be like, the ride was fun, I want to ride it again, but I also want to be able to go through the line one more time so I can, pay attention to the small details. And that's really, what makes a great attraction. I don't want just a glorified switchback. I want to have lots of stuff to look at. And, for Star Wars geeks, there's never enough detail. There's never enough subtle nods here and there. And so I would love to be able to have that. That's one thing the old attraction actually did have. There was a lot of good stuff in there. So I would love to see them take upon what they had before and build upon that and give us something completely new to look for and new surprises to find.
Yeah, something tactile and something like that's maybe a photo op or something. Like I'm even thinking like the Winnie the Pooh queue where you've got stuff that you can touch and interact with and things like that. I mean, Star Wars is such a techie kind of half of the Star Wars fanatics are in love with just the technical stuff about Star Wars. It'd be great to have that kind of experience reflected in the queue as well.
The one thing I don't want to see is I don't want to see Walmart stuff in the store. Towards the end of Star Tours' lifespan, a lot of the stuff they sold there was stuff you could find in Walmart. Toys. They were just uninspired. They had some good shirts. I'll give them credit where credit is due. Good shirts, but a lot of they had like astronaut food is what someone said. They had there. Like that freeze dried stuff you can buy anywhere. Like, let's be a little bit more original. I understand you got to sell some of the, you got to sell lightsabers, which they sell everywhere. Totally get that. But let's try to give us some better stuff, more compelling merchandise to buy there, and not more of the same. So I would love to see Star Tours 2 spawn a lot better merchandise experience as well, because I want to see stuff that I say, ooh, A, this is unique, and B, this is so unique and cool, I want to get it. Something that's like, well, I could probably just go to Walmart and buy the same stuff.
Maybe they'll have the holiday special on DVD.
the Christmas special?
Yes. I can hope.
I'm thinking no. I could be wrong on that. I
can hope.
But
let me ask you though: is there any indication that they may at some point do like what they did over at Mission Space and have like one ride vehicle that's tame?
That's a good question. I don't.
I was
going
to ask that. Yeah.
I haven't seen any indication about that at all, Mike.
Okay. I'd be interested if they decided to do that. That's something that they might do later on if the experience is way too intense, just like Mission Space didn't open that way, but they found that they kind of had to do that.
One thing you could do on the old Star Tours is you could actually ask for a flight where the simulator didn't move at all. I did it once just for the sake of doing it, and it's very boring because you're just watching a movie basically. But of course, this will be in 3D. Don't forget, which is something I think it's really been lost in all that. We all know a lot of the details, but the fact that it's in 3D, I'm really looking forward to. I mean, that really could be cool. I hope it's full of cheap 3D tricks, as I love those cheap 3D tricks. I don't want subtlety. I want to see asteroids coming at my head. I want to see things being thrown at me. I know it's campy, but you know what? That's what makes 3D cool.
Right.
Bring out Fozzie Bear to do a couple of his jokes in the middle of the movie. That'd be hilarious.
Fred, you have something to say?
No, I was going to talk talking about the motion sickness idea, because I know Len's going to be there in May, so they're going to have vomit bags in there, I hope, by then. I don't know.
One thing I would love to see is, obviously it's going to be random rides. I'm not the same ride all the time, but I would love to have some option, some way that we could see the old Star Tours ride in there. The old Star Tours 1 with Rex, and it'd be kind of hard without the Rex animatronic over there, but I would love to just have that ability to be able to still see that film now and then. You guys think it's a good idea or a bad idea?
Wow.
I kind of do, actually. Yeah. Like a classic screen.
Yeah, why not?
Right?
Yeah.
I don't know if they would do that. I mean, they're trying to move on from from the history, I think. But I wouldn't be surprised, and it would actually be kind of cool if they somehow worked in some inside jokes from the first ride into the second ride. Like if you're, like, I'm not sure how the storyline goes, but if you could sort of see Rex in another vehicle, you pass by him or something like that, that'd be kind of cool.
Little tribute.
What are some other things that you guys want to or don't want to see in the ride?
Hidden Mickeys? Do we want to see hidden Mickeys in there?
That's almost a given, really.
Yeah, I mean there was like one. There were a couple in the old Star Tours, not a lot. I don't mind like subtle ones. I just don't want to see like Mickey Mouse show up in the thing because that's just like totally destroys.
Oh, what if the Death Star was really a hidden Mickey? That'd be cool. two big ships make the ears.
That's no moon. There's I'm just hoping again, they mentioned some of the planets we'll be able to see. I want to be able to see as lots of different places. They've only mentioned so far, we only know for sure of 6: Tatooine, Coruscant, Kashyyyk, Hoth, the Death Star, and Naboo, but I gotta imagine there'd be more than that. So I'm really looking forward to seeing, lots of things I haven't even seen before. Even as a geek, I want to see stuff and be like, I have to go look that up on Wikipedia while I'm getting back in line to figure out what I just saw. Like, who was that? Who is that? Why is that important?
Hey,
go ahead, Mike.
I just thought of something. I don't know the answer to this question because I've never does Star Tours have FastPass?
Yes.
Yes.
I've never used it. I've never had to use it there.
Yeah,
it's totally seasonal, right?
Yeah, Fred, I think almost all the Fast Pass in the studios is quote unquote seasonal,
except for Toy Story. Well, Rock and Roller Coaster and Toy Story Mania always have Fast Pass.
Yeah, and there's only 3. There's everything else. Mermaids sometimes, but Indiana Jones hasn't used it for years. Lights, Motors, Action hasn't used it for years.
Yeah, shows are different.
Yeah, Star Tours use it a little bit, but I imagine it would actually be in demand to begin with, to say the least.
Wow.
Yeah, we're expecting the attraction to run at full capacity and probably double the wait times as a normal day at the studios, which still isn't actually that bad, peaking at like 50 minutes or 60 minutes at the most.
Yeah, I really wouldn't imagine. I can't really foresee, even on the first day, to have it more than an hour wait, just because of how much capacity that ride has.
Oh yeah, they can, with all of the base open, they can get lots of people in there every hour.
Oh, absolutely. Some other things you guys want to see or don't want to see. What are your fears about Star Tours?
I'm afraid it's going to go upside down.
Okay, well, I mean that's fair. I mean, I guess it's possible because they added it went from a 4-axis ride to a 6-axis ride. So I think theoretically that's possible, but
and then didn't they raise up the height requirement?
We've heard that as a rumor. That it's rumor that the height requirement has gone up. I think maybe I guess a good more to your point, Newell, would be that it'd be too intense for you.
I don't know if it'd be too intense for me because I have to define what intense is for me. And one of the things I don't like is free falling, and another thing I don't like is going upside down if I don't know it's going to happen. If I know that something's going to happen, I can always brace for it and I'll be fine. But those kind of surprises, the free falling and the spinning, really, get me when I'm off guard. But then I guess if it goes upside down, it would have to have some sort of neck brace or some sort of like thing that goes around your head. So I don't
shoulder restraint.
Yeah, I don't. So maybe that won't happen then.
So Mike, what would you feel if you're in line and the doors open to the simulator and you walk in and you see that every seat has a shoulder harness? Would that get you excited or would that get you nervous?
It would get me concerned. I wouldn't be nervous. I'd still want to try it for the first time regardless. But I mean, I'm sure that we'll get a sneak picture of the interior at some point before it launches. So I have an idea we'll know a little bit what happens. But as long as I can if I can embrace myself, I'll be all right.
Yeah, I mean, my biggest concern about Star Tours 2 is just that, the ride, like the storyline, isn't going to be that good. It's just going to be like, it's going to be like the typical like a sequel film, like the stereotypical sequel film. But the sequel film just takes the original idea of a film and just like gives you more of the same stuff because the same stuff worked in the first one. So they figure, well, if we give you more of it, it'll be better. And I'm just hoping that it's not going to fall flat. It's not going to be like it was good. like I don't want to. I want to have like that. Like, yeah, that was awesome. I gotta go. Like you have to ride. You have to ride it. Like that kind of experience.
Yeah, something surprising. Like I'm sure they're gonna start with the basic premise of the whole runaway train idea, but if they could just work in something original, something that we haven't seen, or taking the story in a way that we didn't expect. That's all I think, us Disneyites are looking for. Something that's going to surprise us at least a little bit to do with the story.
I just don't want it to become a giant sum of all thrills. You know what I mean?
Right.
You watch that from afar and you're like, and even Mike, I think, Mike, you told a story where you got up to the thing and you sat in it and you was like, okay, no. I just don't want it to be a 50-seater sum of all thrills where the thing is spinning, and I think that might be too intense.
Yeah.
But that's me. There's going to be a bunch of people out there that say, hey, that would be awesome if it did that.
Yeah.
Well, I think they might have learned their lesson with Mission Space that, there's everybody has a threshold, and they want to push the envelope as much as they can, while at the same time trying to please the majority of the guests. So you walk that fine line, and I think that's where we are these days. They're walking that fine line. You want to make it exciting, you want to make it thrilling, but you want to make sure that you get as many people to go on the attraction as possible, because if not, then things might tend to work against you as far as publicity goes. I think that might have happened with Mission Space to a certain point.
I think you're right.
That's a really good point, Mike, because if you look at the studios, they've basically got their two thrill rides. They got Tower Terror, they got Rock and Roller Coaster. Most theme parks don't have two rides of that equivalent intensity. So I think they need to be toned down from that kind of level to make it fit with the demographics of that park.
Yeah, and I really think that the way to go with that, and I think that theme parks of the future, I think that with costs rising and everything, I think that we'll see more and more simulations regarding attractions than ever before. And that means, playing tricks with the mind, playing tricks with the eyes, playing tricks with you. And that it all started with Body Wars and Star Tours. It really did.
Yeah.
Ride trickery.
But sometimes the simple effects are more effective than anything, that's just extreme.
Yeah, so basically we want them to make what we want without telling us what we want. Read my mind, darn it.
Sounds easy. Yeah.
You guys should know better. Very good. Well, of course, Star Tours opens up May 20th. We'll have, actually, WDW Today will be at the we'll be providing live coverage of the dedication ceremony. There'll be one at 10 a.m. on May 20th, and we'll be there for that. And, of course, you can follow all the details about Star Tours 2 at our special Star Tours 2 website at StarTours2Live.com. I want to remind all of our listeners about our sponsor for today's show, All Star Vacation Homes. And after you spend all day riding Star Tours and experiencing all 54 possible scenarios, you're going to be pretty tired, and you want to say, oh, I need to go back to take a nap, relax. And you say, that twin bed at Pop Century isn't really cutting it. Let's be honest. Well, All-Star Vacation Homes has plenty of great options for you. Lots of different houses to choose from with lots of different amenities. And again, the best part about it is the price. You really can't go wrong with that price. Lots to choose from. Check them out right now at www.allstarvacationhomes.com. If you want to find our earlier episodes, read our show notes, or send us your comments, you can visit us online at wdwtoday.com. For Len Testa, Mike Scopa, Mike Newell, and Fred Hazelton, I'm Matt Hotchberg. We'll see you on the next show.
Stupid Judy, stupid energy.
This has been a production of Mouse World Radio.